Good evening, and welcome to the Miracle of Prosperity here on the New Thought Media Network. I'm your host, the Reverend Dr. Jim Webb. I serve as the Senior Minister of the Tacoma Metaphysical Chapel in Silver Spring, Maryland. I also am the author of the book, The Miracle of Prosperity, as well as additional books, including 30 P's to Prosperity, Forgive Your Way to Prosperity, Prosperity from A to Z, and Create Your Self-Manifesting Vision Board. It's always such an honor and always such a pleasure to be here with you. For every week, we discuss an aspect of prosperity. We either discuss spiritual tools and principles that can help us generate more prosperity, or we discuss ways that we can eliminate the blockages to the prosperity that already exists. And we speak about prosperity and in its broadest terms. For prosperity is not just money and stuff. We may talk about professional prosperity, where, in the words of Florence Scovel Shinn, we have a wonderful job with wonderful pay, where we offer a wonderful service in a wonderful way. We may discuss relationship prosperity, where our relationships are outer reflections of our relationship with ourselves. So as we cultivate an inner self-acceptance, inner self-love, and as we know that we are worthy of support, we project and create supportive relationships where we are fully accepted and feel loved. We may discuss logistical prosperity, where our lives simply work and work well. And we may discuss, of course, financial prosperity so that we have all of the tools necessary to live a joyful and fulfilling life. So each week we do a different topic from a different perspective. Tonight, we've got a very fascinating show, and we call it Neutralize Your Way to Prosperity. Neutralize Your Way to Prosperity. In this show, we will look at ways that we can neutralize the triggers that stand between us and our prosperity. We will understand what a trigger is, we will understand why a trigger triggers us, and we will understand why a trigger can block our prosperity. So we're in for a wonderful show. My producer, Reverend Michael Mangus, and I will be discussing neutralizing your way to prosperity, how to identify and eliminate the triggers that keep us from our prosperity. Good evening, Reverend Michael.
Well, good evening there, Reverend Jim. Good to see everyone this evening. And again, what a wonderful honor it always is to be on your show. So, all right. So the questions here, and again, if anyone has any questions, go ahead and put them in the comment. But my question is, so what are the top 3 beliefs that individuals have to get out of the way so that they receive prosperity and also so that life becomes a lot easier for them?
Yes. The top 3 beliefs that we have to dispel in order to allow our prosperity are: number 1, we have to understand that we are loved, lovable, loving, and love-able. So the belief that love is not available for us is one of our key beliefs that stand between us and our prosperity. Number 2, the belief that the universe does not support us Now, of course, this falls out of the belief that we are unlovable. But when
Right.
we believe we are unlovable or undeserving, we believe that the universe does not support us as well. And when we believe the universe does not support us, we manifest an unsupportive universe. And the third, which is actually the primary erroneous belief that stands between us and our prosperity, is the belief that God and God's loving presence is not with us. You see, often we believe that God has abandoned us, or that God is judging us, or that God is punishing us due to God's negative judgment. And this all stems from the false idea that we are separate from God. So, at the pinnacle of the erroneous beliefs that keep us from our prosperity is the false belief that we are separate from God, which is the benevolent, beneficent force of love that creates only love through us when we allow it.
So what I notice again that's, and maybe you have the same observation, there's individuals that they seem to prosper in certain areas. For example, whether, and again, we're broadening the whole idea of prosperity here to
Mm-hmm.
include health and career and other ways. There
Mm-hmm.
are individuals again who are naturally prosperous, and those who just seem again to struggle. So
Yeah.
how do you start noticing the these trigger points? How do you start going in there and start saying, okay, well, that's an erroneous belief. I've believed that for a long time. This is where it came from. How do you start doing that?
Well, the first thing you do is start assessing when you are feeling uplifted, excited, energized, creative, powerful, and joyful. For where you are feeling those things, you are aware of love's presence, you are aware of a supportive universe, and you are feeling a sense of love deep within you. And then after that, you become aware of when you're not feeling those things. When
Hmm.
you are not feeling those things, that is a trigger point. You
Okay.
have been triggered or pulled down vibrationally. You've been triggered. You've been pulled down energetically into an energy that is less productive and less effective in manifesting the joy and the good that you desire.
Okay.
So you feel triggered when you are triggered if you feel tired. Something triggered you into that. You are triggered when you feel angry. Something triggered you into that. You are triggered when you feel unmotivated, unclear, unfocused. Something triggered you into that. You feel triggered when you feel shame or doubt or anything unlike love. Something triggered you out of your natural state of love
Hmm.
and into a foreign state where you need not be and where you need not stay. So the question is, what triggered you? And what is a trigger? A trigger is anything that takes you out of your joy. What triggers you? It may not be what you think. And that to me was fascinating, Reverend Michael.
Okay.
Yeah.
So are you saying that we have, and again, we all have our stuff, even
Yes.
the people who are naturally rich, is that they have a certain amount of beliefs that they grew up with that are
Yeah.
not helping them now. So my
Yes.
question is, how do we? So what I'm hearing you say is that uh, we're not aware a lot of times that we've been triggered.
Yes.
Okay, so what? So is it the feeling or is it the thought? How do we start to unpack those triggers?
Okay. Feelings follow thoughts, and thoughts quite often lurk in the depths, in the murky depths of our conscious awareness. So building a consciousness that causes us to dive deep into our awareness is the first thing. So building a meditative practice where we become aware of the unconscious no's that are saying no to the yes God offers. For example, we're all familiar with Jungian psychology. Well,
Yes.
Carl Jung said that until you make the unconscious conscious,
Yes.
the unconscious will manifest in your life and you will call it fate. But it is not fate, it is your unconscious creating. So the first thing to do is to create a space for making your unconscious conscious.
Okay.
The second thing to do is once you have that space, create a practice of self inquiry.
Okay.
Why am I feeling? And the key questions you can ask yourself: why am I feeling this way? What is the false belief that is causing me to feel this way? Because obviously it's a false belief if it's dragging me down. A true belief will lift me up. This must be a false belief if it's dragging me down. And then number three, where did I learn or believe this? Where did this false idea crystallize in my consciousness? And that's the most important thing. You know why?
Tell me.
Because generally, especially when we are in our full adulthood,
Okay.
that which is triggering us in the moment is not the real trigger. The real trigger is probably 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years before. And it's just an energy pattern. It's just a thought pattern. It's just a belief pattern that has been repeated and echoed over and over again. So in order to neutralize it, we have to go back to the root. Because let's face it, that is a tree of consciousness that has grown for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And as with any tree, you don't get rid of a tree by taking off a leaf. You don't get rid of a tree by taking off the branch. You get rid of the tree by going to the base, right?
Absolutely.
So many times, the thing that seems to be triggering us is not our real trigger. So we have to build a practice of self-inquiry, and then we have to use that practice of self-inquiry to find out what is at the root of this belief. And that's fascinating because A Course in Miracles has a couple of lessons that teach us this, Reverend Michael.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. One of the lessons is in the first 7 lessons of A Course in Miracles. It says, I am seeing something that is not there, and I am seeing only the past. And what those lessons are teaching us is that we are not seeing when we look at something with our eyes. We may think we're seeing because that's what we've been trained to believe, but we're generally not seeing. We are projecting. And when we understand that, you're not seeing, you're projecting.
Mm-hmm.
You're projecting your beliefs. You're projecting your past experiences and expecting them to happen again. You're projecting your biases, your fears, your shame, your doubt. You're projecting what is in your energy. And what is in your energy is being projected out. And your life is your screen upon which your projections manifest.
Absolutely. So one of the things that I have worked with individuals on, and I just wanted to get your comments on. So let's say I want to be at X,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm at B.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what sometimes what I'll do is I'll have people write out their money story.
Mm-hmm. Or their anything story, whether it be money or love or job.
Yes. So I'll have them write out their story and then to start picking out the beliefs then
Mm-hmm.
that are keeping them from X.
Yes.
All right. So how are there any other ways that we can help to bring those unconscious beliefs? Because again, when I work with individuals, a lot of times is that, and myself,
Yes.
I'm not aware of those beliefs. I'm not aware of the reason why it's showing up in my life. And again, we have been taught in no matter what the branch of metaphysics is that,
Mm-hmm.
again, as within, so without.
Mm-hmm.
So how do we start, besides the money story, what are some ways that we can start getting to X? What are some of the ways that we can improve our lives out of this story that we seem trapped in like a hamster wheel?
Yes. Well, in my book, The Soul of Prosperity, I have a battery of questions about beliefs, and I repeat them over and over again. So the first thing we do is we go into a slight meditative state because we develop a sense of self-awareness, and then we answer these questions. It's about 25 questions. And then we assess what came up, stream of consciousness. What is the first thing that pops into our mind when we finish these sentences? I believe this. At work, I believe this. With my family, I believe this. With relationships, I believe this. With wealth, I believe this. With education, I believe this. And when we finish those sentences, we get insights into our beliefs. But then we take it further. We understand what came up from the depths of our consciousness, but then we ask the battery of questions again, and we say, I believe this because, I believe this because, I believe this because. And through this series of questions that cause us to dig deeper and deeper and deeper, we get to the origin of our belief stories. And that's one of the many ways that we can do it.
And if you're wondering how you can get a copy of that book, just go on Amazon.com, and The Soul of Prosperity is the book. It is the the basis of all the other wonderful books that Reverend Jim has written over the past several years. And let's see here. Let me get hello, Jane. Reverend Jane Batts with us this evening. Hello,
Yes.
Kimberly. If you have a question that you'd like to ask Reverend Jim, or if you have a specific belief that that has been that you've had a difficult time in letting go of and replacing, please put it into the comments. We would love to talk to you about that. So some of the beliefs, though, are, from my tradition, we call them race consciousness, and
Mm-hmm.
it has nothing to do with skin tone or color. It has to do
Yes.
with the the beliefs of the collective.
Yes.
So how do we? So some of the beliefs I've noticed in the collective are that, again, you have to work hard for the money.
Yes.
Um, uh, Money is the root of all evil.
Yes.
Um, it's you
Relationships are hard.
right. Relationships are hard.
When I go
What are
on the
some of
job, I'm going to be oppressed, unheard, unseen, and underpaid and overutilized. I'm going to be taken advantage of.
okay.
Yeah. So how do we address these beliefs that are a part of the dominant consciousness?
Mm-hmm.
Well, what we are doing is creating an alternate consciousness that might overshadow the dominant consciousness. So we see all this stuff outside and it triggers us all the time, right? But there's a place within us where we know peace despite outer chaos. There's a place within us where we feel deserving despite the messages that we've gotten from the universe that cause us to feel undeserving. There's a place within us that feels powerful beyond measure and at one with a source of power,
Mm-hmm.
despite how powerless we may seem in our outer circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
So, despite the common consciousness, there is a consciousness that we can cultivate within us that can overshadow and overcome the beliefs of the common consciousness. We simply have to be willing to A, go there, to B, cultivate that consciousness, and to C, allow that consciousness to overshadow the common consciousness. And what do I mean by that? Well, everybody has always wanted to be a part of the in crowd, right?
Okay.
And we have often been feared being our individual selves because we believed that society would support us and reward us for our conformity. So we have to ask ourselves, is the common consciousness and its perpetual struggle, its pain, its lack, its suffering, its conflict, and its pain, is that something that we want to be a part of? Or do we choose and allow ourselves to be a part of a different consciousness, a consciousness of love, a consciousness of peace, a consciousness of light? And when we are willing to make that choice over and over again, we learn to cultivate this inner consciousness to the degree that it is strong enough to override and allow us to override the common consciousness. So we say, this may be your experience, but it doesn't have to be mine. Parents, this may have been your experience, but it doesn't have to be mine. Peers and siblings, this may be your experience, but it doesn't have to be mine. And I will no longer be afraid of deviating from the norm when the norm means pain.
But you don't understand, Reverend Webb.
Yeah.
You have no clue is that, my family grew up this way.
Yes.
And that I'm going to be the only one that's ever been to college, or I'm going to be the only one that's ever traveled outside the country, or and that what I've seen in the past is that when individuals from our family start doing that, is that they get ridiculed. So what would you say to someone who is stepping outside of the box of the norm and then going and to explore their own inner calling, and again that they're afraid that their family may not support them?
Yes. The key here is the trigger is not the thing that they do that puts them outside the norm. What is truly being triggered is the child within, because at the source of so many of our triggers, it is not the adult self that is having the current experience. It is the child within that has been deeply traumatized. And so let's just understand this a little more. The child has depended on the parents and its outer environment for life. So if the parents or the outer environment threaten to withdraw love, they perceive that as a mortal threat. On some level, unconsciously, they believe that they will not have what they need to live. And so it's a mortal fear. So 30, 40, 50 years later, there's a child living within us that has the mortal fear that if our parents or our peers ridicule us, then they will withdraw the love we need to survive. And we fear death, which is why quite often a little trigger may create a volcanic response, because it's not the trigger in our adult lives that we're responding to. It's the child within that is in mortal fear, mortal danger, or so it believes. So one of the things we do when we nurture and cultivate this inner consciousness of love and light is that we direct a great deal of that love and light to the part of us that is the wounded child. And that wounded child then begins to feel more comforted, more loving, more lovable, more protected, and more safe. And the more safe that wounded child feels, the less it is likely to go into mortal fear and to be triggered. You've seen people, Reverend Michael, have you seen people who someone makes an innocuous statement and they have a meltdown?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't because of the innocuous statement. It was because of a part of them that went into panic or rage beneath the surface.
Absolutely.
So we have to go there and send light and allow light to comfort, calm, and re-educate that part of our consciousness. And in my book, The Soul of Prosperity, I have a whole chapter, and for many readers, it's their favorite chapter, a chapter dedicated to silencing your inner saboteurs.
Mm-hmm.
Because these are the parts of us that sabotage our good.
All right. So let's say we have an understanding of what has been triggering us, and we want to go to the next. We want a different experience.
Yes.
How do we do that? What are some of the things that we can do so that we experience our what I call our natural prosperity or our natural source? What are some concrete steps that we can use to do that?
Number one, be aware of the emotions beneath the surface that are occurring. Understand that these are just opportunities for healing and for love. A Course in Miracles lesson 193 says that everything is a lesson God would have me learn. It's either a celebration of love or a cry for love. So understand that this emotion that you're having is not a bad thing. It's just a part of your consciousness that is ready to heal and is crying for love. Allow yourself to, from this place of elated vibration, objectively observe the emotion as you're having it. Ask, what is the error in thinking that is causing this? What is the false belief that is causing this? Because obviously it's a false belief if it is causing you pain. Then ask, what is the truth that I can adopt instead of this erroneous belief that causes me pain? Then maybe ask, what does this truth look like if it were to manifest in my world? How would I feel as this truth manifests in my world? And then allow the grace of God to transform your former erroneous belief into the truth and into the experience of the truth. So you vibrate with the truth. And when you vibrate with the truth, you send that out. And
Right.
then that goes and finds its reflection and draws its reflection to you, or it draws you to its reflection.
Well, I'm going to ask one more question, and
Okay.
we can go ahead and we can take a break. So the one of the things that when individuals come to me for prosperity counseling is number one is again that to do the process that you just said, but also talk to us about the importance of assembling a positive community around us that will act as a supportive family instead of our birth family. Because
Yes.
unfortunately, our birth family is probably going to get triggered because that we are stepping out of the nest to go ahead and to do something that again that's coming from inside of us to do. So talk to us about the whole idea of forming supportive community around us so that that will also take us to our goals.
Absolutely. What we find is that we always have a certain vibrational frequency, and we want to maintain that vibrational frequency. So let's do an example. If a room is 30 degrees and we have a radiator in the room, that radiator heats the whole room. If that room is 70 degrees, that radiator has to work less hard in order to heat the whole room. So imagine that we're in a room that's 30 degrees. Let's call
Okay.
that room that's 30 degrees our unsupportive environment.
Okay.
We have to work a lot harder, and it's a lot more difficult to maintain the vibrational frequency. But when we're in a room that's already 60 degrees, we have to work, it's much easier to maintain that vibrational frequency. Being around like-minded individuals, you heat each other.
Right.
You support each other. You uplift each other. You guide each other. You mirror each other. And in supporting, guiding, and mirroring each other, it's easier to get to where you want to go. Does that make
Right.
sense?
Absolutely. And that's one of the things that I tell folks to do is as
Yes.
you are changing your beliefs again, watch who you are sharing your goals and dreams with,
Yes.
especially your family,
Yes.
because your family, again, you will deal or you may be dealing with generational beliefs
Yes.
about how much money to make, what kind of careers that we do in our family.
Yes. We're
Um,
still workers. We don't go to college.
right.
Yes.
Yes. And, no one in our family has ever done that. And
Yes.
so to start getting to not only move there in your mind, but also to start building up individuals and people around you that will support you in your goals. And
Yes.
one of the, again, that if you want to know a big secret about spiritual growth and enlightenment, I'm going
Mhm.
to share this with everyone this evening, is get around a supportive spiritual community. Quit
Absolutely.
doing it by yourself.
Yes.
You
Imagine, for
go ahead.
example, you have to be in an incubator in order to grow, and a spiritual community is an incubator. And that's very important to remember. Are you ready to go to break, Reverend Michael?
No, I just want to keep talking. So go ahead, finish your thought.
And a spiritual community is like a hothouse for a flower. And so placing yourself in community places you in an incubator that enables your growth.
Amen.
And that's what I
Did,
want to share.
did I
We've
hear
got
did
you
I
heard an
hear an
amen
amen
from
from
the
the
amen
audience
chorus
there?
over here.
Okay, amen. All right.
Yes.
Well, let's go ahead and take a break. And we want to encourage those who are watching this evening, please put your questions in the comment. One of the questions that I would like to throw out this evening is, in our time remaining, what is a belief that you are still struggling with after all these years?
Yes.
Is it, I don't have enough money? Is it money is hard to get? What are some of those beliefs? And so if you want to put them in the chat, and
Yes.
Reverend Jim will give a brilliant answer.
And the other thing that we can do in addition to that, Reverend Michael, is we
Okay.
can ask, what are you experiencing that you don't enjoy? And we can deconstruct it to see what is the belief behind this.
Right. Well, we have 15 minutes to go here.
Oh
So
my.
we do have a couple of questions that we're going to get to right after the break. But again, feel free to put in the comments this evening, either on Facebook or on YouTube. And we're going to be right back here in just a moment. This is the Miracle of Prosperity with the Reverend Dr. Jim Webb here on your, and I
New
mean
Thought
your
Media
New
Network.
Thought Media Network.
Yes.
Please help us say thank you to our organizational sponsors, including the Hefferland Foundation, Affiliated New Thought Network, International New Thought Alliance, Science of Mind Archives and Library Foundation, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, Center for Spiritual Living Midtown, New Thought Philadelphia, Planned Happiness Institute, Summit Center for Spiritual Living, One Heart Retreats, Center for Spiritual Living on the Lake, Unity Kitchener, Unity Spiritual Center Ottawa, Om Center for Spiritual Living, Satya Center, Begin Within Ministries, Center for Spiritual Living North Jersey, Unity of Savannah, and the Center for Spiritual Living Seattle, as well as all of our individual donors. Thank you for being part of the New Thought Media Network. Please like, share, and subscribe. New Thought Media Network, positively inspiring.
What if the person you think you are is just a fraction of who you truly are? What if years of conditioning and surviving in a challenging world have left you clinging to strategies and beliefs that mask your truest nature? I'm Catherine Duca, psychotherapist and self-esteem coach, and you're listening to Who Do You Think You Are? A show that looks beneath our psychological masks and uncovers our profoundly messy, beautiful, brilliant, tender-hearted essence. Join me as we go in search of the hidden power of our true selves. I'm so glad you're here.
And we're back here on the Miracle of Prosperity here on your New Thought Media Network with the Reverend Dr. Jim Webb. We have a couple of questions here. Kimberly is asking this evening, please again give strategies on how to combat the trigger in the moment and stay focused on love, light, and peace. Can I take a stab at it first?
Absolutely.
Okay. So, Kimberly, the first thing that I would do or suggest is just to notice it. And how do you develop a noticer? Well, you develop a noticer by meditation. So when you notice that you are triggered, the first thing that I teach my clients, and I also do myself, is to say, oh, I'm triggered. And just to notice it, not to try to fight it or get rid of it, but just to notice it. And that if I can, to try to give a response rather than a reaction. If I can do that in that moment, yes. But again, just to notice it in the first place. And sometimes that you may have to say, oh, maybe this is not a time. Can we talk about this later? If it's in an interaction with other people. And so again, it's start to notice your life and don't push away these wonderful messengers that you get when you are interacting with other people. And the tendency is to go ahead and to blame them. Well, it's their fault. They did it.
Yes.
Okay. But notice now there's three fingers that are pointing towards you here.
Yes.
So again, they're giving you a gift here.
Yes.
They're giving you the gift of awareness. So again, that's why, again, the whole idea of meditation is so important, because then you start developing that noticer that, again, that takes you out of the emotion to say, I'm feeling anger, or I'm feeling rage, or I'm feeling less than. So a lot of times those are things that you can take and make note of and go ahead and then take them into your meditation later. Your comment, Reverend Jim.
Absolutely. I love what you said, Reverend Michael. Developing your neutral observer helps neutralize the blockages to your prosperity. Your neutral observer is the part of you that does now and has always felt safe, holy, and whole. And as you said, when you meditate, please, as you said, when you meditate, you are in an objective place where you can see from a higher level this is happening. And when you see from that higher level, this is what is happening. You get used to being that neutral observer. It becomes easier and it becomes second nature.
And Kimberly, again, I would just say, again, don't fight it. Just go ahead and start noticing that. And then those are things that you can take into your meditative practice and start asking questions about. So how you start changing that, though, is, again, start noticing, start being willing to feel the feelings, and then, again, to start, again, how would I feel, again, if I had love and light in the situation? So those are, again,
Yes.
just some practical things to do. We also have a question here from Reverend Jane. She says,
Yes.
I hear that
Mhm.
there is a new energy coming to the earth now. How can we maximize the speed and ease of manifesting with it?
Yes, there is a new energy coming to the earth right now. The veil between our world and the spirit world has thinned to the point of being non existent. And in addition to that, we have cultivated within us an energy of such light that the light that we carry is able to manifest more efficiently and more effectively than ever before. So, what can we do with this? A, be more mindful and observant by developing our neutral observer and putting our neutral observer to work. B, knowing that anything that comes up right now is coming up for a final healing. And as Reverend Michael said before, do not judge it, observe it, and ask, what is the truth that I need to know instead of this? And what would this truth look like instead of this? And number three, putting the light that is available to work for you.
Mm-hmm.
We work for the light, but the light also works for us because giving and receiving are one. So when we can utilize this powerful light to heal us more deeply and more completely than ever before. And we can utilize this light to create our good because guess what? When we're triggered, we are wasting energy in anger, in
Mm-hmm.
blame, in shame, and in anything unlike love. But when we handle our triggers, we can use that energy optimally to create instead of miscreating or recreating our old beliefs. So, observing our triggers, healing our triggers, and using all of this energy to create instead of just a portion of it is how we can take advantage of the new energy coming to the earth right now.
Absolutely. And if some of you do not have a copy of Reverend Jim's premier book, which is called The Soul of Prosperity, go on Amazon and buy it. Okay, just buy it. It's worth the money. Go buy it. It's a great book. So a lot of the techniques that we've talked about this evening are found in that book, The Soul of Prosperity. So just go pick it up, go read it. It's worth the investment. You'll get a lot out of that book. Now, Reverend Jim,
Yes.
a birdie has come on my shoulder and says, he has classes coming up. Could you explain to us the classes that are coming up here in September? And you're doing a pop-up class too. So if you could explain that to us here.
Absolutely. I'll work with what's happening in September first. And the reason for that is that although it's 6 weeks out, my big classes fill up quickly. And I have to limit registration so that I can ensure that everybody gets quality instruction, quality support, quality energy, and quality healing.
So Jim, real quick. So where are we at registration wise?
For this class, I'm at about 40% registered 6 weeks out, which means that it is very likely to sell out. So for this class, we're about 40% registration at 6 weeks out, and it's called Mastering Manifestation Magic. Reverend Jane alluded to a new energy that is coming to the earth. This energy, again, is the energy from source or the energy of source that is more available and more prevalent, but it is also the energy within us that we have developed and nurtured. And so this increases our capacity to manifest. There is magic in this energy that can happen more immediately than ever before. And I'll just give you an example. A person in my class identified a blockage, a grievance, a trigger for her. in one of my recent classes, and she realized, oh, this is what is blocking me from my joy. And in the class, the guides and teachers that I channel worked with her, worked through her, shifted her energy, transformed her in that evening. And so something opened within her. And within 24 hours, she had booked a 25-day Scandinavian cruise and gotten it for half price. In 48 hours, she was on the boat.
Ah, wonderful.
And that's how immediately she was able to manifest this amazing cruise for half price, literally within hours. But she's not alone in that. A lot of the people in my classes have noticed how they are able to say, wouldn't it be nice to blah, blah, blah? And then that happening within moments or hours or days. So there's a magic afoot right now, and we can access it, we can harness it, and we can use it to manifest more easily than ever before. So this 8-week class on Mondays and Thursdays, Spirit will guide us. Spirit will give us individual guidance, group guidance, lead us in prayers, and heal us individually and as groups. And our collective energy will grow to such a degree that we'll all be able to manifest immediately. So that starts on Mondays and Thursdays, beginning on Monday, September 8th. Sign up early before it's closed out.
We are not kidding you here. We're not hyping this here or we're not. We are telling you the truth. These classes sell out immediately. When he goes ahead and announces the classes, his phone starts to ring. All right. So be wise. If this class is calling you, you need to make reservations now. I know that September seems kind of far off, but again, it's only 6 weeks away here. So if you want to get a hold of Reverend Jim, it's 202-253-6009. You can email him at revjimwebb@msn.com, or you can visit the website at revjimwebb.com. Sign up for the newsletter and for his surprise mailings. Sometimes Jim will just have a class, again, out of the blue. Now, Jim, I heard that you have a pop-up class coming up also.
Yes, I do. And so what I do with my people on my mailing list is not only do they get first access to a lot of this, but sometimes I do secret sales, and it's only to the folks on my mailing list. So, for example, you might be able to access a reading with me that normally is $150 for an hour. You might be able to access that for half off. Wow. If you're on my mailing list, because I might make a few available for a few days. And so what I'm doing with a pop-up class, because this was first announced on my mailing list, and it's already 80% sold out, this one night only of Ask Spirit Anything. Usually when I channel on a specific topic or subject, and we focus on that. But I know that people often have questions about a wide range of things, and they may have questions on a wide range of external things, or they may have questions on things unique and specific to them. Well, this is your opportunity to ask any question you want of Spirit. It's one night only on Monday, August 4th from 7:30 to 9:30. We've already got a class that's filling quickly, so it's only $25. If you'd like to participate in this, get in touch with me sooner rather than later. I will save you a slot if you get in touch with me before it fills up.
Excellent. How wonderful.
Yes.
Well, you know what? An hour flies by quick with you, my friend.
Wow. And my house guests, I was at a dinner party this evening.
Yes.
And the red wine was flowing.
Oh, I bet.
So my house guests were having a good time in the background, my little studio audience.
Yes.
And so if you heard anything in the background, you heard my house guests having a ball.
Now, So do you have any parting words for us this evening, Reverend Jim?
Yes, there is new light, new love available to you. Take advantage of it to optimize your joy, your fulfillment, your peace, and your prosperity in every aspect of your life. Thank you. And everyone have a wonderful evening. Thank you, Reverend Michael, for helping us tonight here on the New Thought Media Network. Good night.